to shock her with a stun gun. She screams and has an evil laugh whenever I do it.
The Real Talk Corner. We back. We in the building. As I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, fighting my way through the darkness where the wicked don't rest. Conscious aware, truth I dare, shield tied to my chest. My tenacity can put these motherfuckers to the test. Vibrations of fire, alchemist of desire. I stay manifesting shit, even when I am tired. You could call me a mason, by the bricks I be laying, but you'll never call me lazy, cause my vibes they devastating. In a league of my own, spitting real talk energy. I know a little something about a thing called synergy. Destined so ready to grow with sending messages awakening. Listen up, cause we about to set your mind, body, and soul free. Good. All right, let's get it. I'm super excited about this new season that we're dropping all this beautiful information that we have and crazy topics like tonight. I have a special guest with me today. Sun Hill is on the, I was gonna say on the block. I don't know why I was gonna say that.
But I'm on the scene.
But she's here with me today, and we are actually going to talk about kink culture tonight, which, you know, I actually am not into the whole kink world, you guys. What they would call vanilla, all right? It's crazy because the only reason this came up in my psychology class. So in human sexuality is what I was studying this semester. And we had to go through this particular, and I was just like, wow, I know people have fetishes. You know, we know that people like to get peed on, and we know that people like to, yeah, that's the thing.
I know them golden showers.
People like to get pooped on. It's people, and then I think of, it's not so far fetched because we know when what's his name, Christian Grey, what was that damn movie?
50 Shades of Grey.
50 Shades of Grey, which I'm gonna tell you guys, every one of those movies I fell asleep on.
I was boring.
It didn't excite me, but everybody was talking about it and all excited, and I'm like, y'all showing y'all true color.
Yeah, but not. I watched.
I was like, I guess I'm pretty vanilla in this situation because I was like, that hell no. But I feel like if you're an adult and you're a consenting adult, do what you do.
Right.
But I really was kind of seeing, because a lot of people have their different opinions. A lot of people are thinking that people that have these like crazy kinks are due to childhood traumas, while other people are just like, no, that's what you like. For me, when I'm looking at it at that from the psych point of it, I'm like, how can you really like this stuff if, you know what I mean, if it isn't tied to something else, right? Because like I was never into calling somebody daddy. Like that was just not my thing. And I mean, I had my share of daddy issues, but I never was calling anybody, hey, daddy. That just sounded weird to me, you know? So I'm kind of like, where, you know what I mean? Like, what is going on? And I'm like, the more I think about it, I'm like, yeah, it really does sound like that. Because you're getting sexually aroused by calling somebody daddy.
That don't do nothing for me.
Right? And even like when you think of someone getting like those golden showers, you're getting sexually aroused for someone to urinate on you. And I'm like, if it ain't that I'm about to die from a big jellyfish out in the ocean and we stranded, no, I'll use my own urine for that.
Okay. Squeeze it out.
It's like, what the hell? So there's so many different levels. I mean, we, in society, of course, has grown because, in the history of this, there was a time where even oral sex was against the law. They looked at that like you were, crazy if you were even doing that, or masturbation. Oh my God, if you masturbated, that was like really, crazy. They were like kind of sent you to the mental ward. Yeah. But now, of course, all of those things are more open. They have all these, what is it like? Communities, kink communities.
Right.
But I want to stay on the topic of like humiliation, degrading, because to me, I feel like that goes beyond just your kinky, whips and chains and tie me up, because
Mm,
that goes into really, really like there was this lady who was her story. She was like, she got blindfolded, tied up, beat. The person pretended to rape her, right?
mm, mm,
She got thrown out of the hotel room into the hallway naked. Then the two people that it was like a couple of them, they brought her back in and then proceeded to put her underneath the water and hold her underneath water as if they're drowning her.
mm. That's
Now,
torture.
now I'm like, and she's like all cool about it. Like, I have my safe words. And I'm like,
Huh?
how do you get excited from being tortured?
But what if it's a point where because you're going through that torment or pleasure, you can't say your safe word? They continue.
What I'm
Then it's a crime, right? That's a borderline, right? It goes into that to
I'm like thinking, even the person who's pretending to rape you, what's the psychology behind that?
I figure
I'm
like,
gonna pretend to be the raper.
yeah, it's like she gives me permission. Maybe it's so it's in their I don't know. I feel like this is the way I think. That person has permission. Maybe it is something within them that wants to do it because it's like they like the self-defenseless, type of being. They have permission, so they know that they're not going to cross the line of now it's going to go into something criminal. Like, oh, I can do it. It's safe. It's fine. I can act out my fetishes. I can act out on this person. They're giving me that green light.
Right. I'm
Yeah.
like,
So
why would that entertain you?
I
Like,
don't know. I think it is something that goes much deeper than that. Because what I was think when I was thinking like the little girl or boy within you, how did you get from there to there to from that
right,
to there? Like what happened between that you're just
right,
like, I wanna rape somebody, but
right,
I want them to enjoy it. And I want them to allow me to rape them because I
right,
enjoy it too.
right.
Yeah,
And the other
that's
person is not gonna act like they enjoy it. They're gonna act like they don't enjoy it.
yeah, but they're in, but within them, they're enjoying it. But they're gonna act like not. They're not doing. Oh, that's amazing! I want to do that one. Oh my gosh!
And this is not to shame nobody. So of course, if y'all understand it, drop a comment, let me know.
Right.
But I'm trying to understand the mindset of how do you walk into this and where and when, right? I'm gonna
Mhm.
play this one guy I came across because I do believe it comes from somewhere. I don't think that you can just be, and I know everyone doesn't like the term normal. We don't like to say normal, but within the scheme of things of pleasure, and again, I know everyone has their level of pleasure and everybody's different. But
Right.
when it comes to some of this stuff, I think this is way too far out there. When you're getting beat, put underwater, like someone trying to suffocate you, like I'm having a hard time understanding how we get to the point where suffocation is good. Just want to.
And I choke on my saliva. I mean, think I'm about to die.
All right, let's listen to him because I believe it. I believe that it's definitely from somewhere. I don't think that you can have these type of kinks and just that's your normal. No matter what you feel normal, and I know people don't, especially these days, nobody wants to be put in a box, but you probably should try to figure out where it stems from when you are getting to the point of wanting to be hurt and
Right.
beat up and
Right.
suffocated
Uh-huh.
and raped. This to me is some crazy shit. Not to say it like that, but it's some crazy shit. But
Yeah.
Do you realize that your kinks are related to your childhood traumas? This is gonna sound weird, but stay with me here. Just watch till the end. Stay with. So a girl's like, oh, I think it's hot if I call my man daddy while we're doing stuff, and even in a non-sexual way, I just like calling him dad. That same girl is like, oh, I really like when you just take control and you tell me what to do and you just kind of force me to do it. Stay with me. Then as the relationship escalates, she kind of starts asking things like, "Hey, like can you punish me or like spank me if I'm like a bad girl, like do something to make me realize I was bad and that I shouldn't do that." As you continue exploring, you realize that a lot of those sexual kinks are related to her wanting to have discipline in her life, similar to a father figure. And many a times a woman who's into those types of kinks, that family of stuff, has never had a dad in her life or has had a dad who plays a very small role in her life, right? She's yearning for that relationship of the dominant male figure who gives her discipline in life and her being a feminine figure who has to listen and follow instructions. I know it sounds strange, but when they get that satisfied, when you fill that hole that's been missing in their childhood, you're completing a part of their childhood that they've never been able to have access to until this time. And it creates this really, really deep bond that is really hard to get away from, because once you find that, it's like that person that's completing your childhood traumas or like filling those holes in that you've always had since birth. It's very hard to get rid of that type of person.
I read to a certain extent because my dad, not in my life. I mean, he's on my Facebook page, but we don't speak. But anyways, I don't have daddy issues where I dated older men. I need discipline from a man. I need that. That I don't. What he's talking about, I don't need. Maybe there's like a small group of me that don't need that, But
Right, right,
I just to call because my thing, my mind goes like this. If I'm calling you daddy, my mind goes to my actual dad,
right,
and I don't want to hear my dad in the bedroom, anywhere. I don't want to hear the word. And then
right.
my mind triggers to daddy as being you can look at the like the pimp world, pimp and
Yep,
whole world.
yep.
I mean, I'm big daddy, I'm your daddy because he's taking care of you, he
And,
gives you that
and they call him daddy. They call their pimps daddy.
right. I had an uncle, well, my aunt's husband, and when her children start having kids or them, he would say to his step grandchildren, call me big daddy. So my mom was like, you know what that sounds like?
Right.
The dog walking around talking about, hey, big daddy, can I do this, big daddy? And he just smiling and grinning. And I'm like, what?
Yeah. Mm-mm.
Yeah, my mom said, okay, let me tell you something. You know what that sounds like? That sounds like something sexual
Right.
that he
Now,
wants
like
to
I
do.
said, I have my share of daddy issues,
Right.
but I've never wanted that. Like that
Yeah.
whole spank me, I'm bad. I guess to a certain extent, not to
Hmm.
say spanking is bad, but not in that way. I was
Right.
never like, ooh, spank me because I'm bad. You don't discipline me. It's like when you start the wording, when you start listening to the wording, you're like, wait a minute, that's not the same. That is definitely not the same.
Hmm.
So maybe on some level, maybe a woman who somewhere, because I know not having a father not being the greatest can affect you all, all of us in different ways. But I still feel like there might be a correlation for some of the girls who do start to tend to lean that way,
Hmm.
and keep going. My problem with a lot of this is that when you do this and then that feeling goes away, what's next to try to get that heightened feeling that you're chasing? Because to me, it's kind of like a drug addict, right?
Right. You always chasing.
You're chasing these feelings, but like to the lady that I was listening to, her life, it was just like you just kept going and going and going to the point of where you're getting, damn near suffocating, killed. Like, so when do you stop? It keeps going and going and going. When does it stop?
When is enough enough?
Right. Like, what ultimate goal are you trying to get to? That's what I'm definitely trying to understand. So I did find a couple people that that have their own spill that it doesn't come from that. So I did want to listen to them. But
Hmm.
again, I kind of agree with he said. Not, I can't say 100% because again, I am someone who had daddy issues and never once did I call anybody daddy or even want to or any of those things. Never imagine any foreplay in that way.
Me as well. Yeah.
Yeah, so I can't agree with that at all. It's like, yeah, no.
Right.
This
Right.
one, um, this one she talks about the purity culture. The purity culture having to do with people getting into like the kink culture, basically.
Oh, okay.
Ways security culture made. Number one, father daughter. Are you really surprised you have a daddy kink? You're basically guilty of that as a teenager. Number two, the concept of submitting to your husband. Wifely submission is antiquated and creepy, except for in one place. Number three, the concept of born again virginity for those of us who fucked up. This led to some fun role playing, am I right? I'm a born again virgin every night. I'm scared because it's my first time.
All right. So I cannot say I agree with her on her level of reasoning here. Maybe
Okay.
people who maybe people who come from the background of the purity culture. I wasn't in any type of purity culture. So I don't think, and I think it's kind of crazy for her to say to submit to your husband creates this kind of bond, because I'm like, I believe in submission, but not in the way of control.
No.
I would never be with a man who comes in trying to control my life.
Right.
That's
Right.
that doesn't make me feel good.
Right.
you know but I
Right.
do believe if you're going to be with someone, they should be someone that you could submit and allow them to lead your partnership as a man, right? Because men like to do that. So I think some of this stuff that people are saying, I don't think it's correlated exactly to that.
Right. Right. Purity. Mm-hmm.
And that whole like virgin again, I've never done that. Some of this stuff I just am like,
I never
who
said
does
it.
this shit?
Done it. I know. I know. Is that also with the thing where women want to go get their the vaginal area tightened?
Yeah,
They feel
kind of
like they're 14 again.
right. And it's like,
Why?
there's Kegel exercises, you guys. The
Yes.
vagina is created to expand, big ass babies come out, and it contracts back down.
Right.
There really is no reason that you need to go and get surgery so that you can feel like a damn virgin again. Personally, that was not a good experience. I don't know what woman was like, oh, it was just so beautiful.
All the butterflies and the doves. Oh my gosh.
So
And the
beautiful.
shooting stars.
Hell no, it hurt. I would never
I
want to
was
be a
like,
virgin again.
this.
Would never want to be a virgin again. Hell no.
No, no. I was like, let's get rid of this.
Being a virgin, you know nothing. It was not pleasure. I knew nothing. Didn't know what to do. Didn't know if I should do something. Didn't know.
My
Didn't
friends
know
lied
how.
to me. It's like, that's not what it was about.
Basically, you just got somebody humping on you, and you're like, oh. Is this supposed to be it? Because
Yeah,
people
I
make
was
this.
like, I was like, that's it. I actually selected mine. I went up to him and asked him. I told him, this is what I want from you. And this
Yeah.
is how many times? 4 times, and then we're done. That should be good. And he was like, okay. I said, it's convenient because you live across the street from my grandmother. So I tell you when to come in and we'll have, we do what we got to do. And that's
Right.
it. I don't like you. You don't like me. I don't want you to like me. No kissing. We're not going to be butt naked. Oh, I set it up.
Wow.
We were
Yeah.
teenagers too. Uh-huh.
Yeah, I was a teen. I started pretty young, and like I said, I was so clueless, and the guy didn't help none. He just was humping. And then it was over like really quickly. That's what I remember. It was over real fast. So it was just like,
That's it.
is this because people make this sound so good. I'm like, I don't know.
Hey, I forgot Andy Warhol. He said sex is better on TV. He
It
said
is.
in reality, you look at it, he goes, that's not how sex is.
Now, of course, fast forward to an adult woman, in my 40s, and I'm way more experienced, right? So the level of it now is like, yeah, very enjoyable because I know what the hell I'm doing and I know what to do and I know what I like and I know what I don't like. So I can be voiced and I can say, hey, I like this, I don't like this. There's a lot of shit that I don't care what you say, we ain't doing it. Like I have lines and I don't cross. There's some lines we're not gonna cross. I don't need to cross them.
Right.
I don't want to cross them and, and find out. But you get to a point where you're like, okay, now, but no, if I look back, hell no, I would never even role play that shit. No, it's a horrible experience.
No,
You're a damn virgin again.
that's weird. I never
Ladies,
thought about that.
Kegel exercises. Your vagina is equipped and built to
Right,
stretch and contract. Okay.
right, right.
That's why most men don't know that you even cheated on them. Let's be real.
Oh my gosh, I can tell. Shut up.
That's why a lot of men is raising babies that aren't theirs.
They don't know.
Let's just say that.
Shut
Okay.
up. Yeah. Oh my. Listen,
You know what? Not to say that I want you guys to be cheating out there, but I will say what tips your person off is when you change your behavior.
That's right. That's right. In the bedroom.
Because you all into this little new whatever you got going on, that you've changed your behavior. And they're like, wait a minute.
We never drove like that.
Right. You can't go and learn some new shit and then try to come back with your person. That's a dead giveaway. Like, you foul for that. You foul for coming into bed with some new shit.
He'd be like, where you get that from? How you know I did what?
The man been gone for a year and all of a sudden you just doing tricks up the ass. Wait a minute.
Okay.
What the hell just happened here?
Oh my God. You cartwheeled on me? Oh my gosh. You never
When did we
did
learn
that.
this? Oh, I've been doing yoga.
Yeah, okay.
Because nowadays, people are gonna come up with, I didn't at yoga class. Like, yoga don't do that shit.
No, they have a session. You just don't understand.
Y'all, I'm telling y'all.
Yeah.
So yeah, I can't get on board with a lot of the stuff that people are saying. The sad part about TikTok and all of these places that you got tons of people that are doing these videos and pretending to be professionals. And I would say, you guys, go to a professional at the end of the day. Whether you feel shameful or not, or you just want information, there are tons of beautiful sexologists that can help you walk down those paths if that's what you need. But I think there's way too many people who are pretending to know psychology and then tell you what it is and what it isn't. And I don't think any of these people so far have said 100% of what this stuff stems for. And I think everybody's going to be a little bit different too. But here goes this next lady. She actually is against what people are saying, that it's not from your childhood traumas. But again, I don't fully believe that, because I don't get how you can be aroused at violent shit. Like, I don't. It's like when we look at a serial killer, right? Who gets off on murdering people. You're very close to that.
Yeah, they have to be with someone that's dead. Someone that's alive don't attract them. Yeah, where do you get that from?
Necrophilia. Like, who would want to have sex with a dead body?
How
does that turn you on?
That's creepy.
Not saying anybody gonna be in the comments with that shit. Please, I don't want to know how. I don't want to know.
Yeah, don't let us know that. I mean, but it's just oh Lord.
And again, I know that everyone has their things, but there's just some things I'm just kind of like, this is way too far. Like, or just like bestiality.
Oh, no,
I can't even say it.
No.
What makes you want to have sex with an animal?
Ooh.
Like, who's just sitting there looking at their dog like,
it's on tonight. I cannot wait.
Wait, what? Who the hell?
Let me give you a bad.
Who the hell is just petting their animal like, ooh, why don't we go in here and what?
No, no.
I'm just not, and the crazy thing is, a lot of this I actually remember from when I was in healthcare. And a lot of the nurses would tell us the stories from ER. And you guys don't even know how many men would go in there with an animal still attached to their penis, that they would have to, that they would have to help. Yeah.
But that's
Yeah.
abuse to the animal. That is,
I
oh
would think
my
that's
God, torture.
animal cruelty because where's the consent in that?
Right. You
I
can't
don't
get one.
think that animal was like,
Let me back it up. Hold on. No. No, no,
no.
no.
Ain't nothing in me that would believe that shit. Not for 1 minute. You cannot tell me that the dog wanted no, the cat
No.
or whatever else, the goat, the whatever else you.
The sheep.
I mean, people have done stuff. People
Yeah.
have done stuff with all types of animals, animals that we wouldn't even think of. That you would be
Yeah,
like,
I don't even want to think about it. Yeah, I
what the
know.
hell? You know, I'm a very curious person, and especially when I was younger. And when the internet first came out and I heard about that, I wanted to see. And then I was like, why the fuck did I do that? Because now I have ruined my whole life seeing this shit. And it made me very just feel ugh. And so I'm like, there's some things that you just don't want to see. Just take the word for it. Don't go searching for it.
Yeah.
Leave it be because you cannot unsee that stuff. You can't unsee it. You're
I don't
just
even want
like,
to imprint it in my brain to even flash
exactly.
up and think about it. You know what I mean? Like, I believe you.
Yeah. Just take it and be like, nope. All right, I'm over here.
Right?
I've kind of been waiting for someone to ask this question. The reason for that is it's a surprising answer. A lot of people think that kinks come from past trauma, but in most cases, that's not the truth. Kinks just tend to come from past experiences. They don't have to be negative, and in a lot of cases, they're actually positive. They usually come from experiences in your formative years. Let's say your first girlfriend and you were a little too shy to do anything, so she started to touch your feet, or you started to touch her feet. Guess what that leads to? Your brain begins to associate feet with sexual pleasure. They've actually studied this in lab rats where they associated sex with the smell of lemons, and then the rats could not get off without lemons present. I'm not saying it can't come from a negative experience. I'm saying in most cases it doesn't.
Okay. I don't know about that.
So I disagree. I disagree because one, I don't like play with my feet. Like, I yeah, no, I don't like someone sucking on my toes, all that shit. Like, no. So I'm like, how could because you're with someone that you care about and they're rubbing your feet? I've gotten foot rubs from my kid. Does that mean now I want someone to play with my feet? No.
I dated someone with a foot fetish before.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I've heard about it. I've heard about it. And just like I know that there's men that love your feet to look good, but I have not dated someone that was like, yeah, let me get them feet. Like, no,
We didn't
really,
have sex. It was all about my feet.
really.
He called and come over. He says, I just want to come over to, rub your feet. And I said, okay. My friend was like, what? I want her to see it. So he came over and we were swimming, got out, and he wanted to make sure my feet were dry, and he would rub them, and he was breathing all heavy. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, I wanted to laugh so hard, but I didn't. Then he was like, oh my gosh, can we go in your house? I was like, yeah, sure. And then sat on the couch and he was like, I just want to rub, I just want to put this lotion on. I was like, yeah. I mean, to me, it was just a foot rub. To
Right.
him, he was really studying it. He was like, oh my gosh, on your feet. Oh my gosh. I'm like, okay. I only did because he was really fine. But when I found out that there was going to be no sex involved, it was just my feet, I was like, okay. Yeah, that was, and I made sure my feet were kept up anyway because he was like, oh, you go to the nail salon, and he would call and say, what color are your toenails? What color are you polishing your nails? I'm like, they're red. And he was like, oh my gosh, really describe it to him. I'm like, what in the world? Yeah. I got burnt out because I was like, I don't want to talk about my feet. I mean, come on.
Right.
What shoes are you
I can't
wearing?
I can't imagine that being the dirty talk. What color is your toenails?
I was
It's
looking at
red.
TV eating chips. I was like, yeah, they're red, whatever. I was like, whatever.
Like, wait, what?
Yeah. I mean, it was not
I,
ever.
I I mean, I know that guys like women's feet to be a certain way, but
Right.
that over bit about it, and then like that's all you're gonna do is rub my feet, and what else?
Yeah, it didn't
I
go
mean,
anywhere
I
else.
go to get my foot rubbed in pedicures every month.
Yeah,
It
don't do
does
that
not
for me.
arouse me.
No, because I'm watching another like you better not get that extra skin. Come on, don't you know? But other than that, yeah, it does nothing for me. My mind doesn't trigger. My mind doesn't even trigger to him rubbing my feet. It's just we were talking about the topic, but it never did nothing for me
Right.
then.
I would
It's
love to know
okay.
what is that correlated with? Like, where do you just start with being sexually? Because when you think of when you're sexually aroused, the kind of feeling that's coming through, right? When you're sexually aroused with somebody's feet, what is correlating with that?
Good. I have two foot fetish people on my page. I'm going to ask them on my Facebook.
Yeah. And if you guys know and you got a foot fetish, drop me a comment and let me know. I would
Interesting.
love to know because, again, I don't want to say you guys are crazy or nothing like that. I'm trying to understand, a lot of this stuff to see like where does it really come from and where does it match to? Because I do think a lot of this stuff comes from trauma. But then again, not every drug addict is traumatized either.
No. Oh, maybe my fetish is kind of borderline. So I love hands, men hands, right? So for me, when I see a man, say I'm always looking at his hands, and then I feel like when I look at their hands and it's certain, I'm always thinking, what do you do with those hands? Can they build? Can they cook? Okay, if
Right.
it's touching me, I'm like, I guess I'm borderline with that. But we don't have sex though. But I want those hands on me. So especially if a man says,
Right.
"Oh, I build," when I hear a man is active with his hands, I get like, really? What else can you do? Oh, I can put up this. I can make a house. I'd be like, what? Then
You're
I
like,
get
wait,
for
what?
real. I'm always like, what else can you do with them hands? You could do that. Oh my gosh, And then he's like, yeah. He goes, yeah. I'm very active with these hands. I'm just looking at his like, boy, let me cook you a meal so you can come over.
I mean, like, I can get that. I can see that, and I can get that totally, right?
Right.
But if it was like just his hands, and it was like, nope, nope, I don't want nothing else, just your hands.
Not no we no no no. Not,
That would be weird. Like that's what I'm saying. Like when it's to the extreme of something, because there's always things that excite you
right.
about the other person or the other, whether you date male or female, it doesn't matter. But there's always something that attracts you, whether it's hands or whatever, means physique, like just that man's stature is
Mm-hmm.
like just whoo. But there's always things but if it was just like, that's it, I just want to get off looking at you, that'd be like, wait, what?
Yeah, I think that's
I just want to rub lotion on your hands, and that's it for me,
yeah. I have to. It has to lead to somewhere. I mean, nah.
Yeah. I think it's the extreme parts of it because I can see being, like I said, I know a lot of guys who say it. They love when a woman's feet look good. And it's like, okay, I can understand that, right? Because I don't want no man in my bed with crusty ass toes. Okay.
Okay, putting up the
No,
sheets.
I,
Yeah.
I do not want us laying next to and then your bottom of your feet scratching the hell out of my legs. We trying to play footsie and you scratching my shit up. No,
Okay.
like, no. All right, I understand that. I can understand that. Just
Right.
like a man even does. I mean, there's a certain extent, like, yeah, you'll be okay with calluses and rough hands, but it can't be just flaky and you know what I mean, skin peeling off. Like, I think there's a certain extent. It's just like, it's not
That's
attractive.
me on, girl. No.
I do believe you guys that you should be open about what you want. And I'm gonna do another podcast on this, but just because I feel like when you are not open of the things that you want, it will fail. The relationship will fail, the partnership will fail, sex won't be as good as you want it to because one person is not saying what they need. And when you're in fear, there's tons of people that are in fear of what they want. But if you're open, maybe your person will be into it. Maybe they won't. I think in the beginning, you should say some very crazy shit like, this is what I need. Because people think that they can just pretend until time goes by and they're fiending for whatever that kink was, right?
Mm, Yeah.
And so that's why you have a bunch of undercover people doing a bunch of crazy stuff
Right.
instead of being upfront with people so that they can make that decision. You can find somebody who wants to do it, just like the people we're talking about who are raping other people and they have a safe word.
Yeah.
There
Oh
is someone for everyone out there. You do not need to lie, especially
yeah.
after 2024. You
All
will
the
find somebody who gets off on their feet being rubbed, you know? Just saying.
hmm
All
Yeah.
right. I'm play the next one. This one, she is talking a little bit about humiliation.
Okay.
And so I just want to, we'll listen to her a little bit and just see what she's talking about. Again, because I'm trying to understand this shit.
Mhm.
Y'all educate me.
Humiliation. Humiliation play or humiliation kink is a form of consensual logical play that is focused on inducing feelings of humiliation and embarrassment for erotic experience. Why would someone find humiliation erotic? There's a number of reasons, and we're going to get into those in other videos. But for right now, let's talk about a few examples. Humiliation play can involve language, ways of dress, treating someone like an inanimate object or like an animal. It's also important to remember that humiliation or embarrassment isn't universal. So what one person might enjoy as a humiliation kink, someone else might enjoy that same activity for another reason. Have you experimented with erotic humiliation?
So what she's saying, and I get, again, I get that everyone has their likes, but to me, humiliation hurts. Like, it doesn't
Yeah.
feel good. Like
Mm-mm.
for someone to put you down, to be mean to you. And I think that's why I'm trying to process like what would be arousing for that? What would you get out of that? Of someone putting you down and, shaming you and all of these things.
Yeah. No. My brain's not wired like that to accept it. I
Right. And
no.
then to the point where you're actually allowing someone to harm you and
Yeah.
hurt you and, go to these extremes, like, there's some other stuff going on because I've never had someone say some mean shit to me and I was like, "Ooh, I like that. Say it again."
It felt good when you called me ugly.
Right?
Call me a beast. Call me a gorilla. Ooh.
Right. I don't think I've ever even allowed anyone to call me a bitch in bed. Like, that's not a
No,
thing.
that never happened. No. Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
So it's like, why because and I guess I'm going based on, my own preferences, but I don't think I could do that to have someone actually like talking crazy to me and shit. Like, there's a difference. Like, talk crazy, but not in a way that's like harming, you know.
Yeah,
There was
abusive.
nothing in me that would want to be called a bitch during sex. Like, what? So I damn sure
Yeah.
don't want to hear you talking some other crazy shit to me.
No. Yeah. And treat me like a dog and walk me like a dog. Yeah. I'm not.
I'm like, who the hell want to get on all fours and pretend to be a damn dog?
Okay.
I need someone to explain to me what they get out of it. Like,
I don't know. I watched documentary on that, and they had like these rooms, these little safe rooms too. A room
mhm,
behind the room, like a door,
mhm.
and they like to be treated like that, walked on and slapped, and ooh, they was getting off.
Like I get, the dominatrix stuff because I've actually talked to a woman who was a dominatrix,
Uh
and I
huh.
get that you got these powerful men and women who come in because they want to be dominated. They're powerful all the time, so they
Right.
want someone to come and take control. I can get that, because they need something. They need something. It's just when it gets to the like beating, where you're harming, you got bruises, it's no longer just a little fun. This is like someone is beating you. And the other person who's doing it, I'm like,
Yeah.
why would you like that? I could not just be beating someone and hitting them, scarring, harming them, blood coming out, and that we're both getting off on this.
And you going to dinner afterwards? All braised up. Bruise up in
Like,
it. Nah. I
like
think
that's
the pain, the focusing on the pain, it's like I seen something like that where a woman says she focuses on the pain, it feels good, and when it wears off, then she doesn't have a focus point. She's
right,
now worrying about this and that, and she doesn't want to do that. She wants some type of pain. Like she'll get brutalized like that. She'll purposely do that. She will even harm her own self because it got into that far. They gotten that
right.
far. Yeah. So it's like, okay. She
It
was like, I
sounds
just
more like an addiction than anything to
there you
me.
go. Yeah, yeah. She's like, now I harm myself because I'm into that now. And people be thinking, oh, your man's beating you up. And she would hide her bruise because it's not him, it's her.
Can you imagine? I
Yeah.
think that would freak me out if I was with someone and then they're like harming themselves and shit.
Yeah, that wouldn't I would what's wrong with you? Like what's going on? I mean,
The
that's my
devastation.
I wouldn't be thinking, did it feel good? How many times did you do it?
Right.
Okay, get in the bed and describe it to me.
I mean, even when we look at people who do cut themselves, normally it comes from them, again, being in a place of depression, extreme depression, so numb that they want to feel, so they do that pain. But again,
That's
that goes all into the shit of addiction and, traumas and all of those things.
hmm
So again, it's like I want someone who don't got no traumas to tell me how the hell or why, because that's the part I'm just like not understanding to, because I don't think you can stop. I think that it's just keeps going into levels.
that's
You
right.
you just gonna keep going higher and higher because that's not it's not appeasing no more. And I don't want to keep putting them as serial killers, but I feel like that's how they get started. They're
Yeah,
doing all these things and then boom, somebody dies, and then the feeling of that is like, ooh, let me do this again.
finally felt something. I want to have that feeling again. Yeah. So
It's
I watch a
like
lot of serial killer documentaries too. So
I used to too. I used to watch a lot of those myself. It's always intrigued me of why people do what they do,
right,
right?
right.
It's always intrigued me. So I'm someone who's constantly trying to pick the brain of people and understand why do you do it. Even what I do today, it's talk to people that do crazy shit in their life, and I'm like trying to understand their logic, your logic of the situation. What is good out of it? Why are you in it? What like what are
Yeah,
we
I want to
doing?
understand too because I'm always thinking if your family's not like that and you're not around people like that, like your friends,
Right,
coworkers, how are you, this one person out of all these 30 like that? What
right,
triggered it? You didn't grow up like
right.
that. You didn't see it. How did you start venturing off into that? What's that one thing? And then you just kept going and going and going. I always go
Right.
back to like Jeffrey Dahmer.
Yeah.
Why? You just,
Yeah.
I want to eat him, you know?
Right.
So yeah, he said that he had to vomit a couple of times to get sick for him to even get used to the taste of humans. And then after that, then he starts getting aroused by it.
Yeah. And then
Yeah.
he's just cooking up brains and shit, serving it to people.
I mean, and then he said, black men taste better. How do you get to that?
When you actually know which one, you're like, yeah,
Yes.
that's more
Then
flavorful right there.
he became a master of his craft. So
Right.
at some point they do it and do it and they get a master of their craft. They know what they like, they know what they want, what they dislike, what's gonna
Right.
set them off. Who's the
Right.
person to be that one person to be their, say, their muse, their project, whatever it is. So
Right.
it's coming from somewhere. If it's
Shit,
not
you'll
childhood,
sacrifice.
your mind switches. So how you know what I mean? Like
Right. That's the thing is understanding like where does it change, because like when you look at it and having that bond and that just humility for life, right? I look at life and I appreciate life and would never want to hurt nobody. Of
right,
course, if I had to defend myself, I'm pretty sure I could take a life, but just on a regular, no, I couldn't just go and take a life. That's not something that I can just do.
right,
So I'm
no,
like, where does it change that this feels so good to be in this place to hurt, and then potentially, let's say you do murder someone and then you turn into this person who just keeps doing it. Like, how does that feel good to inflict that harm on someone?
I got a good documentary you can watch on HBO. It's called The Thought Crime. and that
Thought
talks about
crime.
everything we're talking about. A thought crime that he actually, it was a police officer that always thought about feeding off of someone,
Mhm.
BDSM, tying them up, to
Right.
put them in a oven, and there's a community for that. It was on the dark web and everything. Well, it
Wow.
was a thought. He didn't do it, but he had evidence. They found evidence of him in this room, this chat room, talking about it, talking, talking, talking.
Right.
But they also found like the ropes and stuff in his car hidden in the trunk, but he
Right.
hadn't done it. So he got convicted on thought, the thought process of him thinking about it. It's called it
Because
thought.
you're about to get there. You got
Yeah,
the
there you
ropes
go.
in your
There you
car,
go.
you
It
in the
started
chat
with the
rooms.
thought. Yes, that's the
Exactly.
breadcrumbs. So if you watch Thought Crime on HBO or
Right.
Max, it's still there. I watched it, and it was very interesting, and that's where it started. And he tells you from the beginning how he got like that. No one in his family's like that. They didn't even know that
Right.
he was like
Right.
that. Not even his fiance knew, and
And
he
there's a
was.
lot of people like that that live these kind of like
There
normal
you go.
lives, but have this
There you go. Mhm.
secret stuff going on. And I'm like, that's what I mean, how do you even get to that thought process?
I, you know what? And there is like a
It would
community
be
of it too.
fun to tie somebody up.
Yes. Uh-huh. He was actually looking at her best friend, I think. So they were going on a trip. He went on two trips, and just to check her body to see if she was meaty, like thick, to see how she would fantasize, how she would taste. And it wasn't that about her face or being pretty. It was about her size, like her body. Could it withstand the bondage, putting an apple in her mouth and then putting her in a human oven and all kind of stuff. Yeah,
Wow.
hearing her cry as she's roasting like a rotisserie. And the guy that
Right.
he's talking to said he's actually built one on his property, so he has land way out. So they were talking about that. They was getting everything ready. They checked out a couple of people. Did he have a person? If you watch that, it's interesting. It's on the line. It's actually what we're talking about now.
Yeah, yeah. Because I do think there's a fine line, and the way it seems to me is that you're just really one situation close to taking someone's life.
That one.
When,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, you're like beating in, because to me, I'm like, it's gonna keep escalating because,
Mm-hmm.
like I said, that one lady, she was at the point where she's getting put underwater and drowned and stuff. So it's like your next time, what the hell they're gonna have to do so you can be excited?
You keep leveling up to where there is no next time. People, I mean, you know how they have the safe words, but it's been, you know, situations where they
Yeah,
didn't make it out.
yeah,
That was the level. That was the end
yeah.
game.
And that's the sad part. Like how important is this to you for your life? But I guess if you don't really care, then then it's like whatever. You don't really have that. Like I want to live. Like,
Yeah, that's going beyond living on the edge. That's going
right.
beyond risk taker.
Because yeah,
So
there's risk takers, there's adrenaline junkies, there's all of these things that
yeah,
exist,
yeah,
right? And when we
right.
look at sex, sex is no different than all of those things.
Hmm.
People are in extremes, and this is what we would call an extreme degrading humiliation. And it's beyond bondage. It's to the point of actually hurting, someone and them. Okay, yeah, they like it now, but yeah, you have your safe words, but I don't see how you could say your safe words if you're tied up, stuff around your face, and how the hell you're saying your safe word?
I knew a guy that he grew up with his mom being abused by his dad, right? And he would see it, see it, see it, see it, to where he would say, "I would never do that. I would never do that. I helped my mom clean her face, her broken ribs, da 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 da." So then what he did? He did that.
Yeah,
And then he said, "How did I get here? Because I have like he's looking, he has no remorse." And he said, "Oh, I'm my dad.
yeah,
That's what I grew up seeing. But I had sympathy for my mom. Why do I do my life like this and have no sympathy for her?" So
yeah,
he had to make himself leave her, and he got help because he was
right.
like, "Oh my gosh, how am I? I just come home and be on her and sit down and watch TV and like nothing. Like it was just okay."
I think a lot of people in like those situations don't realize they're taking anger out on the wrong person.
There you go. He said that. He,
Yeah,
It was
Because
anger.
even though he helped wipe his mom's face, he has an anger towards his mom that, you know what I mean? Like, that he
How you
probably,
put me in
because
a situation. Yeah. He
the
always said, "Why did you leave?"
subconscious is so crazy, right? So much is in the
Mhm.
subconscious that we're not aware of.
Yeah.
And when you get to a point, you're like, I really don't know how I got here. It's sitting in that subconscious. But yeah, that's the first thing I'm feeling with that is like that you're angry at, and you're taking that anger out on this person that didn't do anything to you. This person, your wife, didn't do anything to you. In a situation, even though you might be mad, like your mom stayed, I understand that because my mom stayed in the same kind of situation. It made me lose a lot of respect for her and things like that. But I was not one of the women who grew up and got into an abusive relationship because I was very angry towards men. So it was like, you show some aggression, I'm out. I don't care. I'm not staying. And I would, soon as someone in the beginning you start showing, nope, I'm outro. But I know women who have stayed in those situations. My mom was one of them. Her mom and dad fought, and then she ended up being in a very abusive relationship. So, but I think the people that are abusing, they're definitely taking the anger out on the wrong person. And then you really got to get help, because that's the thing. There is help out there to so you can understand what you're feeling. Just like the guy who's running around with ropes and stuff in there. If he would have got help, somebody could have helped him process where that's coming from. Where did it come from? Why are you thinking like this? And how do we help you? Instead of just let me get closer and closer to actually murdering somebody.
Yeah, there's another. I know I watch a lot of. I'm sorry, I watch a lot of serial killers. But this guy, okay, I'm trying to pull up the information because actually, what he did was it's the same thing. He was a serial killer, but what I'm trying to make a point is that his last victim, he finally found out why he would kill,
Mm,
and because of his mother.
mm,
His mother humiliated him as he was growing up, and he when he killed her, then he found, okay, I don't have her nagging me. So every time, even though a grown man, when she would nag and humiliate him, call him names, verbally abusive, then he would go out and he would kill these women. But he also couldn't be with them when they're alive. He tried; they had to be
mm,
dead. Okay. He also wore pumps, like heels. He walk around in heels too, because he said his mom would do that as she's walking around in her heels, and that's all he would hear. Her heels coming to humiliate him because the men were abusive to her. So she took it out on him. It's like a vicious cycle. Okay.
yeah.
So for him, when he took it out on women, innocent women, kill them, but he had to like decapitate them. And then he couldn't
Mm,
have their head on their body so he can have sex with them. I know, but that too. So it all goes back to still what we're saying is
right.
his childhood, his pain, everything came from his mother, and it took him that long, but people had to suffer from to realize it was my mother. It was my mother.
Right.
But he
Right.
turned himself in.
I'm
He didn't have the
that's
need to do that no more. He was like,
right.
I'm done. I'm clean. I don't have a need to kill
Right.
him. It was my mother. She was the
Right.
yeah.
That's what I'm saying. There's a root cause to this. There's
Mm,
a root cause somewhere. It's not going to be, oh, I just like to do this. Oh, this is just my kinky whatever. There is a root cause. I want to play this one TikTok real quick that I came. She's explaining a situation how the girl escalated from just kind of like what they call pain kink, and then it kind of escalated to more.
oh,
Um, and this is a person asking because they're like, what do I do in this situation? And it's to me, I think it's scary for someone who doesn't. Of course, I would if someone was doing that to me, I'd be like, no, this is way too far, and you wouldn't be able to look at that person the same
right,
because you're like, we need to figure out why you need to go to this level and this extent, right? But if you're someone who doesn't think like that or process like that, you're going to be in fear
right.
of, all right, what's next and what happens next, which it could get crazy. So you guys be safe out there. you know
Right.
Definitely be safe.
Started off with a hit from her wanting me to spit on her to her wanting me to shock her with a stun gun. She screams and has an evil laugh whenever I do it. I'm not sure if I should just let her enjoy it or recommend therapy. I think you should do both. because it's going to get to the point where she wants you to pistol whip her and then nut on her back or something. I was with you with the whips. I don't know about the stun gun joint. But this is a humiliation kink, and I don't kink shame.
Well,
I don't think it's about kink shaming. I think it's about safety. I think, it's like, okay, here you go starting this person starting with the small pain stuff. And now it's
yeah.
like, ooh, tase me. Let's grab
What?
the stun gun.
Mm.
Like, wait, where do we go? Now
Yeah.
punch me in the face.
Beat me with a bat. Oh, that feels good. Let me heal for a whole week and I come back. Yeah. So like, why does it feel good? Why?
Right,
Why does pain feel good to you? And as we say normal, they can't do it. Okay, so the kissing and hugging is
right,
not good. That's no. It needs to be, well, as you're kissing me, choke me. Please. Like we would be
right.
fighting.
Like, and again, like I said, I am considered vanilla when it comes to all this shit. I get a little bit of, hand on my throat, but not choking me. My wind pipe ain't being blocked. Like I just can't imagine because I do think that once you start that, I don't think it could just stay like that. I think someone will keep wanting to go to the
They will.
next level. And I've seen a lot of those serial killer ones and different ones that do it, and something about like looking at the person and that power dynamic in the situation. And that's what a lot of this is. It's a power dynamic. Somebody wants to be in control.
Mhm,
Somebody wants to have power over the other person. And
mhm.
I'm like, again, to an extent, but when it gets to that heart hurting someone,
Yeah.
I'm like, that stems deeper. I don't think that's just normal kink stuff that, you should just be like, yeah, that's my fetish.
Yeah, I think like where you get to the point, why do you want someone to be that submissive or begging or pleading? Even if
Please.
they're playing, still, where do you get to where you need to hear that? Why?
Right.
Where do you get to where you need to hear screams and yelling, and that's like sound of music to your ears?
That part. You can't
Yeah,
tell me that that's not connected to some deeper shit.
yeah. Where did you hear that in your childhood, or are you seeing that to where it's like I need to mimic that? You have back serial killer again. You, oh
Like
my
real
god,
shit. And I mean, it's not to just keep comparing everyone to serial killers, but honestly, when you look at the behavior, they all kind of started in the same similar ways, you
yeah.
know?
You remember the clown, the killer, the clown, John Wayne
Uh-huh.
Gacy? Okay, and he said that in his interview that a man across the street in the neighborhood is the one that tied him up and when he was young, a young boy, and raped him or whatever. And his dad, I guess, supposedly took care of it, but he never talked to him about it.
Mm,
So it got to where it was like hush hush. His dad never talked to him about it. His dad was verbally abusive, so he never said that that was wrong.
right.
You're gonna be okay. It's not your fault. Blah blah blah. So he did nothing, 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 all until he got to a certain age when he was grown. Even though he
Mm,
married women and had kids, okay. But guess
yeah,
what? He started torturing and killing the little boys. Like I think he's seen himself in them.
right,
So
right,
I'm gonna mimic like his mind switches. I think to like when he was younger. Okay, I'm going to. This is what was done to me.
right.
And I feel like all he could do was when he was young probably was think about it. He has this pain, so he's mimicking the same pain inflicted on somebody else. No one told him that's wrong for that man to do that. You did nothing. You were innocent. No one. So it gets to where it festers, is in your mind, and now it's there. You go, another level. It's dangerous now.
Right.
Yeah. So it's not like I could see if you and your boyfriend did that. That okay, that's you and your boyfriend. But now you're taking victims, and now
Right.
you're using them as your fetish, your way, because he always denied that he was gay and da da da. He was like, no, I'm not. But they had to tell him, look, this is what it is. But he was still
Mhm.
not wanting to come to terms. There we go again. That he could have been
Right.
thrown that out in him, but he's
Right.
holding that. See, I know I need to be normal. I need to be straight, but also I have this kink, this fetish, but that goes beyond that, and
Right.
no one can know because back in those times, like we
Yeah.
said, you
There,
couldn't ask.
there's a lot of the gay shame. So even to this
Yeah,
day, there, especially within males, there's a
right.
lot of still shaming that they would rather like be undercover, or they would rather, you know what I mean? And there's a lot of them actually that even in the trans community now that would rather go through surgery and become a woman than actually be gay. That's how horrible it is to some of them, because and then through process of going to see the therapist and things like that, they realize that I'm not really that I'm a woman. It's like I was so ashamed of being gay that so that people could accept me, I'd rather say I'm a woman and then go get the
I was
surgeries
gonna
and
say it's
you know what I
worth
mean?
something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you see, people go to these extremes because of fear and shame and humiliation, you
Mm-hmm.
know, and
Mm-hmm.
then people get hurt. So I think, you guys do what you want to do out there, but be very careful, and I would set the tone. You meet someone, set the tone of your expectations because you really don't know.
Yeah, let that person be the deciding factor. Let them decide because you never know. They may be like all for it, but if you don't let
Right,
them decide, then you know
right,
what are you really getting out of it? It's like okay, uh,
right,
not for me because like you always said, it's something. It's someone for everyone.
right.
It may be
You
someone
would
that's
be
into what you're into.
you would be better to find someone who's into what you're into,
Hmm.
especially if you got some extreme shit that you like. There are communities for you versus you trying to be what they call normal with someone only to fuck up and ruin that person's life, potential children that are in that life,
Right,
and then
right.
take it out on innocent people
Hmm.
and hurt them because you can't get past your own shame and shit that you got going on. That's very selfish.
Right.
Like give the person the choice. Me, I'd rather you let me know so I could tell you I'm not the one for you.
I
Go find that one.
You will be able to live, and they'll be able to find someone or
Right.
unharmed. Yeah,
If there was something that I'm like, that's one of my deal breakers, I don't do it. I would rather that person be like, you know what? I need that in my life. You're not the one for me. Cool. All right.
respect
Because I don't want couple months, a year later that, you got to go cheat on me to go get X, Y, and Z.
that. Yeah, and there we go. And that
Right.
happens all the time because they weren't getting what they needed. That's the thing for like when I question about Neo, I always felt like there was something with Neo. I
Mm,
mean, you're married, but you were with escorts unprotected
right.
constantly, not one
Right.
time, all through his marriage. So, what were you needing that your wife couldn't provide?
Right. Now,
Like,
of
what was
course,
that?
there's so many different levels of cheating. And I don't want to say levels, there's just so many reasons, different reasons
Yeah.
that people cheat. But one of the top ones, especially when it's someone who has to cheat with multiple people, is
Yes.
they need to feel good. So in the beginning, that person boosts up their ego
Hmm.
and then it quickly dies because then that's gone. And then here goes another person, and I can see why some guys do go with escorts because they're trained to make you feel like you're everything. Some of them are really pros at what they do. Okay.
Yeah. They need that high. Yep. Hmm.
So not saying that he should be doing that and unprotected, but I can kind of see where that's going because the different women, especially even a woman with different men, you need that ego boost. But real quickly it's gonna die and you need the new feeling and the new kind of, ooh, this person's all into me, you know? And then on that respect of going to an escort is probably because they were very skilled. And that's what I'm saying. Like you people don't have conversations about sex, right?
Right.
It's so taboo to talk about sex. They'll talk about everything else, to get to know someone, but they won't have a discussion about sex. It's like it's not on the table. But then later on down the road, you're going to find out the sexual history and past on both of you. Because at some point, one person's either y'all gonna be great, or you're gonna get to a point where someone's not satisfied no more.
Speaking of sex shame, real quick, I notice that family. I know my family does this. You know, you're a couple. You know, someone is grown, and then why is it that you're shaming someone? Oh, it's like my family would say something like almost like you're a teenager. Like
Right.
you're grown, but it's like, okay, you're with this person, and they're looking at you, or they say some sly comment, and it's like, I'm grown, okay.
Right.
Like, why do people shame other people like that? Or they, okay, you had 5 kids by 5 different men. Why are you talking to, I mean,
That
people in
part.
my family all the time, the older generation, like, you have your nerve to say this about this part. I don't understand that about the sex
It,
shame.
it
Okay.
comes from
We're
the
adults.
highly, it's the highly religious generations that have been trickling down, right? So now we're still into this where people are so judgmental. And again, it's not to shame nobody for what you do, but I feel like sex doesn't need to be all closet. Like again, I don't want to know what everybody's doing in their bedroom, right?
Mhm.
I feel like that's a discussion to be. But if you're like having little sexual innuendos with your person, or if you're hugging and kissing, I'm like, why would that be a bad thing? If
Right.
you're an adult, of course y'all having sex. Like what would
Duh. That's what our
hello?
body, I mean, come on. That's what you do. That's how you communicate.
Hello?
We're not
And
just
I,
brushing
and
each other's
I
hair, right?
I believe sex is such a huge part of the relationship that does is really, really, really overlooked. And that is most of the problems is why people are not satisfied with their person after a while. It's because you
Right.
don't have that conversation of what that looks like for you. You
Right.
know,
Right.
it's a different, oh, I have a fantasy to taking that fantasy to reality, you know. Okay, keep that fantasy. You can have your fantasy all day, but when does that need to go to? What type of fantasy is it?
I
Is
want
this
to
the
know.
fantasy where you choking somebody to death?
I always bring that up in my relationships. What are your boundaries? What do you like? What you don't like? Because if that's not for me, then we can't move forward before we get there. I don't want to be surprised. I'm going to tie you up. Like
Right.
what?
I'm very open about that. I'm like, I'm not into some crazy shit. You're not gonna whip me. There's nothing in me that wants to get beat in the bedroom. So if you feel like that's too vanilla, then keep on rolling.
I'm sorry. You can call me boring, but I don't want that. I didn't like getting
I
whipped
don't
when
want
I was little. Why would I want to be getting whipped now?
right. I don't
Like
want to get
what?
beat and all that. You start punching me and choking me till I pass out type shit.
And
There's
how did
nothing in
that
me
feel?
that
Did
wants
you
that.
like that? No.
No, I was scared for my life.
Okay. Come on, girl. Let's get up and go to the movies. Shake it off.
Like, babe, where's the taser? What?
What? Again?
Taser? What the
Oh
hell?
no, no. See stuff like that. No, that would never be me. I can't.
It's
You know
it's
what?
it's like, and I think those are the things. Do you like pain in sex? These are the questions you need to have. If that
Yeah.
person stops to kind of think, oh hell no, all right, we're not sexually compatible. And that's no shade to someone. That's being honest and real. Like, we're not compatible because the shit that you're gonna end up doing, because I'm not gonna do it for you. You will get bored of me real fucking quickly.
Right.
So you're going to need those extreme places. You need to go find your community and find those extreme places.
Yeah. And don't be with me until you find those places either.
Right.
Just drop it.
Don't do that placeholder shit. Go find your people. There's enough chat
I'm there
rooms.
with each other.
I
Yeah.
don't think I can handle stuff like that. I think that's where, and this is where people forget how you could potentially get harmed because you didn't did this to this person that
Right.
snaps.
Right.
Because you've lied to them and you've pretended to be someone who you aren't. And now this person psychologically can have a break and then harm or hurt you, them, and everything else that's going on. And this is
Right.
where you see that where people are shooting, killing. There was a couple, the guy, the girl, the wife had found out her husband was cheating. And then he was so scared that she was going to tell everyone. He went back and killed her. I think he killed himself, kind of thing. And it was just like, all because you want a man, go be gay. Like, it ain't that serious to take
I
somebody's
mean,
life.
I've always been down
Jesus.
here. Live your life, but you should have. Yeah. It's there. We go again. There we go. Yeah.
It's like, damn, it's not that serious. We are in 2024, you guys. Look, I may not understand some of this shit, but hey, there's community. I'm telling you, there's a community for everything, all your great fantasies, there's a community for it. Find it, join it, be happy.
That's what I
But
said.
don't expect people to condone the shit that you like to do.
Yeah.
I'm not going to condone that humiliation, beat your ass type stuff. I would look at you like, really? It's my facial expressions can't can't
I can't either. I'd rather you not tell me because I don't need to know anyway.
exactly.
I'm a person. I don't need to know every detail of your life. I don't need to know your bedroom, especially if I'm not the one in your bedroom. I don't need to know that.
Right. Right,
Choose your
right,
people. Choose your community. Be
right.
happy. Live your life as they say authentically. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah. Don't be getting other people involved that shouldn't be. You know.
It's crazy because I always say, as long as you're not harming or hurting somebody, go live your best life. But what we're talking about today, you actually harming and hurting people, but they like it.
Okay.
So,
So, hey, find your 50 Shades of Grey.
all right, you guys, make sure that you drop us a comment. Let us know what you think about this topic. If y'all got some kinks, let me know. But I don't really want to know too much. Don't get in my inbox. Don't be sending me shit. Thank you, Sunhill, representing and joining us tonight. Whoo, this was crazy. This was a crazy topic, y'all. All right, I'm gonna send y'all just some love and some light.
I'm going to
Some
talk about on my page too. Thank you for the topic.
All right, you guys have a good evening. Bye.
Bye.